Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Nickel City Mafia channel, where we talk all things Buffalo and then some. I'm Mike Thornton, and today we're going to talk about the 2021 Bills draft choice. We're going to talk about, whether or not I feel that we went after the right position, whether we got the right player for that position, and then I'm going to have a little bit of fun and basically give them a rating, each one of these players, and whether or not what I call the jersey scale. What is the jersey scale? So let's talk about that a little bit. Jersey scale is where I basically am telling you whether or not I would drop my hard-earned cash on a jersey for one of these players. A little bit of fun. I'd love to get your comments in the channel afterwards. Tell me if you agree, disagree. But the jersey scale for me, when I buy a jersey, I want that player to be on our team for at least 5+ years. If I don't get 5 years, I feel a little ripped off. So for me, I'm going to rate each one of these players after I talk about them a little bit, and we're going to give them one of these ratings here. It's a 4-point scale, so let's talk about it. Pass, just what it sounds like. I'm going to pass for now. I'm not going to put my money on that jersey. There's just too much that I need to find out about this player. Again, this player may become a star in the future, but I'm going to hold. Put it on layaway. This is kind of fun. Hey, I'm not sold 100%. This person intrigues me. I think they have the potential to be an impact player on this team, but I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach. I'm going to take that jersey. I'm going to reserve it, of course. Anyone who knows about a layaway plan, we're going to reserve that jersey, put a little down payment, and we're going to make payments over time. If that player starts to exceed what I expected them to do, or even meet the expectations that everyone expected them to have. So I'm gonna, at that point, I can make a decision to pay that jersey off, get it, or if I'm not seeing what I expected, I can cancel that and save some money. So put on layaway. It's kind of a wait and see approach. Buy now, I'm all in. This player, I feel, is going to make a huge impact on our team, and I don't have any problems spending $100. And again, I'm going to use $100, just a rounded number here, based on spending on jerseys. This is the number I see out there a lot of times. My little one, Jonah, he's constantly asking me for jerseys, so I'm always looking at jersey prices, and it seems to be around $100, depending on when you buy it, who's the player, blah, blah, blah. So buy now, no hesitation. Let's go. Buy two, frame one. If I ever rate somebody with this, basically what I'm saying is this person's a future superstar. And I'm telling you to buy two jerseys, use one on a regular basis like you would with any other jersey, and frame the other one. Keep that jersey pristine, frame it, get it autographed if you can, and then don't forget to authenticate that autograph. You're going to have a nice piece to hang on your wall. And we can look back years from now and you can say, thanks, Mike, for that information. Anyhow, let's get into it. Before we get into our draft choices this year, I want to since we went edge rushers back to back with our first two picks, this is a board that I pulled from CBS, and basically you can see how they ranked the edge players in the draft this year. And again, a lot of these names I might butcher, so I apologize. Kwity Paye, Azeez Ojulari, they had as number 2. Jalen Phillips, interesting story about him I'll talk about when I get to Rousseau. He was ranked number 3. Joseph Asasi, and then we'll go down to Carlos Basham. As you can see on this board, he's actually ranked a bit higher than Rousseau, and I'll talk about why that might have been. Anyhow, you can also see in red there where they actually went, and Jalen Phillips going number 1, Kwity Paye number 2. Again, this isn't overall. These are just where they went based on the position. So let's get into it a little bit with Gregory Rousseau. So Rousseau, round 1, our number 30, 30th pick overall, and we go with a guy that seems to have some huge upside. Now, where that huge upside's coming from is basically 1 year, right? This guy played 1 year. He played in his sophomore year. He's got about a total of 13 games under his belt. He played in his freshman year, 1 game, fractured his ankle, and it was a season-ending injury. He did bounce back in 2019 with a huge season. I mean, look at this. Stats are over here. He basically had 15 and a half sacks, which I think was second in the league. Phenomenal, phenomenal season. He had 19 and a half tackles for losses. I mean, this season here, just his stock rose. I mean, people are like, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be a top 15 pick whenever he does decide to enter the draft." 2020 pandemic comes along. Gregory Rousseau decides to opt out for that year. I don't blame anyone for opting out that year. I mean, we were all scared of this thing, and I don't have any issue with someone opting out. There's a lot of conversations. Well, are these players just in it for the money? They're opting out because they don't want to get injured. They don't want to lose out on that paycheck. Forget that. Just drop that conversation right now. If you blame anyone for opting out, whether the professional or the college level, I disagree with you. I would have opted out too if I had that option. Anyhow, we take Gregory at number 30, and I'm going to show you some numbers over here on the side here. So another reason why he kind of dropped is because, again, he didn't play that junior year. Let's just talk about that. If he had played his junior year and had anywhere near the stats that he had in his first year, Gregory Rousseau, like I said, is going to be a top 15 pick. But because he opted out and the other players kind of came along and were more present in people's minds, Rousseau dropped a little bit. Instead of being in that top 15, he fell to number 30. Also, too, on his pro day, he kind of underwhelmed. So the thought was that, okay, he opted out, but you expect a guy to be going to the gym, working out, working on techniques, things like that. But when his pro day came around, he kind of underwhelmed a lot of the scouts. And so, and I'll show you that right here. Some of the numbers from his pro day. So his vertical jump was 30 inches, which was only 14. He was only better than 14% of the other guys at this position. Bench press, 21 reps of 225 pounds. He was better than 39% of the others. His broad jump was 9 feet 7 inches, 42% better than 42% of the other players. And then 40-yard dash was 4.69. Here he scored well. It still amazes me that these big players, and not only defensive players but offensive players, how fast they are in today's game. 4.69. He was better than 71% of the players at this position. His shuttle speed was 4.45, 36, better than 36% of others. And the three cone, he was only 16%. So he kind of underwhelmed. I watched a little bit of his film. I'm going to sound like a pro here, right? I'm saying I watched film, aka YouTube videos. You can also do the same thing. So he kind of underwhelmed here and fell a little bit further. I think the Bills had their sights the whole time on him, and they didn't waver. They were taking him no matter what. And again, you can look at his logs on the right there. Do I think this was the right position for us? Absolutely. I mean, we have a agent, Jerry Hughes. We have we had a need there. If you look at last year's games, we just weren't getting the pressure on the quarterback, and that just helps everybody else on defense. So we have Mario Addison as well. They're getting up there in age, 10 plus years in the league. They're doing a great job for us, and fans, we love them. But we need some youth. We need some youth to bring something new to the team. And this was this is where we need to focus on. Start on that defensive line, those edge rushers. Let's get some pressure. I mean, it was obvious when we played KC last year twice. As good as we were, I felt like KC just, they handled us. I don't want to say easily, but I'll say it. They handled us pretty easily in both the regular season game and the AFC Championship. So getting those edge rushers, super important in my opinion. Now, what I've taken Gregory Rousseau at this spot. I'm going to start a little controversy here, and I'm going to say, remains to be seen. I mean, I might have gone Boogie. Boogie on that board that I showed you previously, let me go back to it real quick, and on some other boards was rated a little bit higher. And again, that was mostly because of the fact that Rousseau sat out in 2020. I might have taken Boogie here, and also I might have gone, if I'm really wanting to put pressure, there's this guy, Aziz Ajilari. Oh my God, he's a smaller guy. He's about 250, maybe 240, 250 range. Really an outside linebacker. But my goodness, the speed, the wheels on this guy, the pressure he could put on the quarterback. And believe it or not, even for his size, he played the run really well. So I might have gone with one of those two guys over Rousseau, just because to me, I've got a limited set of data to go off of. Yes, it was great. Don't get me wrong, it was totally great. But I'm not so sure. I think Gregory Rousseau is going to be 1 to 3 years in the making. And I'm going to call it now. I actually think Boogie Basham is going to make a bigger impact, at least early on in the next couple of years, than Rousseau will. So with that said, let's move on to Carlos Boogie Basham. So real name's Carlos Basham Jr. And Boogie comes from a nickname he was given as a kid. He loved to dance, apparently. So that's where he's got the nickname. By the way, I didn't mention it. So on the jersey scale for Gregory Rousseau, sorry, taking it back here just a little bit, I'm going to put it on layaway. I'm going to have a wait and see approach, and then we'll go from there. And I think Gregory Rousseau could be a star in this league, but I'm not ready quite yet to drop $100 on his jersey. Let's go to Boogie. As I mentioned, Carlos Boogie Basham, what a name. I mean, can you see that on the back of your jersey? I would put Boogie Basham. I mean, to me, this guy is going to be a hit with the Buffalo fans. He's a hard worker. I mean, look at all the games he's got under his belt here. He's got 23, 36, about 42 games under his belt. 2020 was a shortened season because of the pandemic. But you can see how every year he's just getting better and better. 4.5 sacks in 2018, 10 sacks in 2019, and he was well on his way to match his 2019 numbers, if not exceeded. He played a little bit less than half the games that he did in 2019. So right on track to get those 10 sacks or more. And again, another solid year. So this guy's a workhorse. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. And unlike Rousseau, who I think needs some further development, Basham, I think, will need less development, and he'll be a bigger impact day one. The guy is just as fast if we look at some of his numbers here. So 40-yard dash compared to Rousseau. Again, I'm going to switch back and forth on these two real quick, so bear with me. So Basham was, 4.62 seconds. Gregory Rousseau on his 40 was 4.69, a little bit slower. Basham had a vertical leap of 34 inches, which really just, that leg strength. He outdid Rousseau, who had just a 30-inch vertical leap. So again there, Boogie outshines him there as well. And let's talk about some of these other things here. The 3-cone, 7.13 seconds. 7.13 seconds, whereas Rousseau did the 3-cone in 7.5. So as you can see, Boogie's up to the task of matching Rousseau pretty much in all categories. A little bit smaller, but he's got more weight to him. He's actually 6'3". A lot of the sites have him at 6'5". You know the NFL, they always bump you up an inch or so. It depends when they actually measured you. Did they have them take the cleats off? But I always feel they have these guys at least an inch taller than they really are, and also the weight, they put a few more pounds on them. But yeah, Boogie Basham, I think, is going to be a huge hit. I can see it now. Boogie, the chance coming in. His name is just going to be shouted throughout the game. He's going to make an impact on this team early on. And again, I think he'll have a bigger impact than Rousseau. So for me, Boogie's a buy now. I'm all in on Boogie. I'm going. I saw an interview with this guy. Super nice guy. I saw the same thing with Rousseau. These guys are super nice. They're ready to go. He's like the energizer bunny. He keeps going and going and going. So I love his motor, and can't wait to see him in action. So I'm all in. Bye now on Boogie. And again, did we make the right pick here? Now, I love Boogie, and as I said, I believe he's gonna outshine Russo. Again, that's just me. Let me know what you think. I might be crazy based on Russo's 1 year. I think Boogie's had just the more experience. But did we make the right choice here? No, I would not have gone back to back with edge rushers. No way. I think the Bills brass, they're doubling down here. They're just making sure that, hey, to me, it feels like they weren't so confident with their first pick. And they can talk all they want about how the board fell. But I'm not going back to back with edge rushers here. At this point, I'm probably going with a skill player. And at this point, at this pick, number 61 overall, we definitely had some running backs out there that were available. I'm not sold on our running back crew. I'm sorry. Singletary, I did love when he first came out. And I'm just not sold on him. Last year, he and Moss splitting time. It just, to me, wasn't working out. And I don't know what's happened. I've seen Singletary kind of descend from his rookie year. And maybe it is because they're splitting time. I don't know. But I'm not sold. When you have a defense that has to focus on a powerhouse offense like the Bills have, and they have to focus on shutting down that wide receiver core, to me, the running game should be able to take advantage of that. And it didn't last year. It let us down. It let me down in many cases where we needed them. So I would have gone after a skill player here again. And you could have talked about maybe if Boogie was available at pick 61, let's go back to the 30th pick overall and let's take one of the higher rated running backs. To me, there was some great running backs available at the 30th pick that I would have taken. I would have taken a more powerhouse running back. We don't have that right now. So a nice blend of power and speed with those same receiving skills that Singletary sort of has, I would have went. So possibly, it's easy to look back, right? If I was said, all right, great, let's go and we should have taken a running back. I could say that after the fact. And I'm going to take Boogie in the second round. Well, based on that pick of that running back in the first round, that could have changed the board completely. We don't know who would have fell to us at pick number 61. But I'm not sold. I'm not sold on going back-to-back on the edge rushers here. So, for me, sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone. Again, I think it's the Bills brass just doubling down and making sure they at least get one of these to pan out. If both pan out, fantastic. We're going to have we got a young line. It's going to be, there's a lot of youth there that are very energetic. And so if it pans out, fantastic. Look over here. Dad, good morning. Good to see you. Yes, I totally agree. There was a running back, and let me get his name real quick, who I would have gone with potentially. Give me a second here. Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams was taken at number 35. He was available when we got to Russo. This guy, great blend of power and speed that I was talking about. I would have went with him. And again, looking back, it's easy to say this after the fact, but we needed a skill player. We need somebody in that running back that's going to scare people. We need somebody at that position that could put the fear in this defense so that maybe they just can't focus on shutting down our receivers. Also, afterwards, Trey Sermon was available at the 88th pick. So let's say we did go with Basham or one of the other gentlemen, other guys that I mentioned, at the number 1 pick at 30, we would have had Trey Sermon, who, again, another good power guy, good blend of speed and power. I would have went there. All right, let's move on. Again, all in on Boogie. Buy now on his jersey. Let's move on to the next two picks where we went back-to-back offensive linemen, actually tackles. And this guy, I'm super excited about. 6'8". He went in the third round, 93rd pick overall. 6'8", 311 pounds. The next guy we took is 6'8", 3 something as well. I'm all in on this guy. He's athletic. He actually originally was a tight end. He converted over to a tackle, put on 80 pounds. So we know he's got some athletic skills. Hey, I can see some plays passing to him in the end zone because of those pass catching skills. Anyhow, 6'8", 311. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. And I'm all in on this player right here. I'm all in on Spencer Brown. So he's a buy now for me. And I'm not sure I mentioned it with Boogie again. As I talk through these things, you get sidetracked, and you're trying to keep the tech stuff going. And again, I was a buy now on Carlos. I do think I said that, so sorry if I repeated myself there. And I'm all in on Spencer Brown. Buy that jersey. Again, typically people like those sexy players, those skilled positions when they buy a jersey. But if you've played offensive lineman and you can appreciate what these guys go through in the trenches, without them, Josh Allen and that crazy offense is doing nothing. Without them, that run game isn't going to do anything. So I'm a super fan. I'm a big fan of these guys in the trenches, and I can't say enough about having depth at this position. So many injuries happen on that offensive line, and this guy here, he's going to be able to play. I think we're calling him. We're going to have him at the swing tackle. He can play on the left side or right side. And one thing about this guy, I believe, if he could go into camp and earn a starting position, I feel that he's that good. And once he does get into that lineup, I don't think you're going to see him leave that lineup, that starting lineup. So that's how strong I feel about Spencer Brown. Buy now, all in on his jersey. Then we followed up with Tommy Doyle. And Tommy Doyle was the 161st pick overall. He was taken in round 5. Another big guy, 6'8". Are you kidding me? 320 pounds. I feel so... Actually, I don't feel bad, but can you imagine lining up against this offensive line? 6'8". And again, I don't know what our average size will be across that offensive line, but how intimidating is it to have to go against these guys? So another athletic tackle. He, I believe, is going to need a little more development than Spencer will. But in 1 to 3 years, I think this guy could potentially work his way into a starting position. But for now, I'm going to pass. If I'm going to drop some money on an offensive lineman jersey, it's going to be Spencer Brown, heads down. I do think we made the right pick again here at this position. Going with an offensive lineman, actually a tackle, back-to-back. Again, you can never have enough depth on that offensive line. Our next pick, Marquez Stevenson, 6th round, 203rd pick overall. I'm actually pretty excited about this guy. He is 5'10", about 180 pounds. As you can see in his 40-yard dash, he ran that in 4.48 seconds. That's lightning fast. The cool thing about Marquez is that I read an article where he was a little bummed. He's like, oh man, there was some wind blowing on that day. And he says that he's been recorded at 4.3 seconds, so timed at amazing speeds. Now, if the size and the weight looks familiar, a la Tyreek Hill, I mean, see a pattern here. McCole Hardman from the Chiefs as well, similar size, similar speed. I think this guy is going to be, I think he's going to make an impact for us. We lost Andre Roberts in the offseason, our return guy, our kickoff guy. That was a huge loss. Andre Roberts had a phenomenal year last year for us. This guy, I think, is going to fill the gap. He's also going to be, he's faster. He's lightning fast. This guy gets a 0 to 60 in no time at all. So if you get a chance, check out his film on YouTube. Incredible. I also see him as that slot player. Once in a while, Beasley was hurt towards the end of the year. Could Marquez, after some time learning, fill that slot and make some plays for us? Absolutely. Again, he catches the ball and he's at full speed in about 2-3 strides. It's incredible watching his film. So I can see him playing the slot. I can see us doing some jet sweeps with this guy. Again, very similar to another player that I see on the Chiefs, which is McCole Hardman. I see a lot of similarities in not only their size, their speed, and I can see him using him a lot like they do in Kansas City with McCole Hardman. So super excited about this pick. I'm not going to rate him a buy now. I mean, he's a 6th-round pick, and don't get me wrong, there are 6th-round picks that turn out to be superstars. I mean, we all know the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, was a 6th-round pick. So you never know. I'm excited about this guy. I think you're going to hear his name this year. I think he's going to make some impact. And so again, yes, I think this was a great pick at this spot. Put it on layaway for me. I'm going to wait and see a little bit before I drop my money, but I'm excited. The rest of the picks I'm just going to touch on. I mean, I'm going to pass on these. We're talking the 6th round, 2 6th-round picks, and a 7th-round pick. And at least when you start getting down to this level, you're kind of looking for these players that you feel that will contribute to your team in some way. Every one of these players has the potential to have a good career in the NFL. I don't think there's any great players from this bunch right here. I could be wrong, and I hope I am. I'm going to pass on their jerseys for now. Hamlin, to give you a little information about some of these guys. So he's a defensive back coming out of Pitt. He's got good size at 6'1". He runs a 4.6 40. Pretty darn quick. And he could work well in the Bills' zone scheme that we like to run most of the time. In the last 3 years, he had 5 interceptions and 26 passes broken up. So again, will he work his way into the lineup this year? Potentially. Potentially in that zone scheme. It really depends what type of camp he has. And of course, if injuries come around. But again, he doesn't have that lightning speed to keep up with those top receivers. So I'm a little worried there. He's a great tackler. And then we have Rashad Wild Goose. Another good name, like Basham, right? Another good name on a jersey. But again, he's a cornerback. And from Wisconsin. And again, I feel he would be more of a fit for that zone scheme. Doesn't have lightning speed. But had a good college career. So who knows? Well, it's a wait and see type of thing. At these picks, you're kind of like, all right, well, who's left on the board? And what are these positions that I feel can contribute somewhat to the team? And then we took a 3rd offensive lineman, Jack Anderson, another huge guy, 314 pounds, 6'5". And there's some other stats on this. I'm not sure where I got this here. Tacos 42. I don't know. Those are the number of tacos that guy can eat at any sitting. I don't know. It's funny. But you can see where his... do I have his 4.6 on here or his... I'm sorry. Do I have his 40-yard dash? No, it doesn't look like they have that there. But obviously, it's not to the level as the other 2 offensive linemen. So again, there's some good conversations about Jack Anderson. Again, it's a wait and see for me. Actually, it's a pass for right now. We'll see how they develop over time. So that's kind of concludes the draft picks. We had 8 of them. I'm super excited. Let's just recap real quick. Gregory Rousseau, again, he's a put it on layaway type of guy. Let's wait and see. I feel we could have made some different moves here. Carlos Boogie Basham, I'm super excited. I think you're going to hear this guy make an impact. You're going to hear his name. He's a buy now for me. I'm going to drop some money on his jersey. Spencer Brown, again, great add to the depth of the offensive line for the Bills. We already had a strong offensive line. Just adding these type of players, these athletic linemen, super happy with that pick. He's a buy now for me as well. Tommy Doyle's it's kind of a pass. He's athletic, but just kind of gonna wait a few years and see what pans out. But right now, I'm gonna put my money elsewhere. Marcus Stevenson, super excited. Again, he's gonna help us on that return game. I think he's gonna have some exciting plays this year based on that speed. Speed kills. We all know that. I'm gonna put that jersey on layaway for sure. This guy could turn into something special. Just my feeling. And then the rest of the team, we already talked about that. So that pretty much wraps up my time. I thank you guys for joining me. Next week we're gonna pivot a little bit, get off the sports, and we're gonna talk about the great foods out of Buffalo. I mean, there's some good stuff back there, and I hope you can join me next week. And I hope to have. I'm going to get some insider information. I have a lot of contacts back in Buffalo who's going to help me talk about those great foods and the best places to go get them. And maybe I can get a guest on here. It's we'll see. A lot of people are shy about getting on camera. I don't blame them. So thanks everyone for joining me. Again, if you like the channel, please hit the subscribe button, give me a like. And I'm open to all kinds of comments and suggestions, comments. So please give me some suggestions on what you would like to see in the channel going forward. Let me know your thoughts on my rankings, right? On my ratings, on my jersey scale rating. That is a custom rating skill developed by me. Just to have a little fun. I'd love to see what you think. I'd love to hear if you agree or disagree with Russo, Basham, suggestion that I had. Should we have gone for a skill player earlier than we did? So again, love to hear from you. I look forward to talking to you next week. And that's pretty much a wrap for me. So thank you everyone. Have a fantastic weekend and week, and we'll see you next week.